Also, wait, before we start, just while we're doing the discussion,
Right.
Next episode is supposed to have the cameo, and it's supposed to have a crying moment. So just, while we're discussing, try to think of who the cameo could be and what could the crying moment be.
Okay.
I don't want to just drop that on you, like, towards the end.
Right.
Oh, cool.
Enough has been dropped on us already. But anyway, let's start. Ooh, we're gonna need a good drink for this one. Just ooh. Oh, there's a quote from our good friend Ronald Smith. He's an interviewer, and he's quite a snazzy, catchy, ever so lovingly charmable guy. He has a quote. It makes me giggle every single time he says it.
If I can for a second, Cal, like you said, let me be real. Can I be real?
Of course you can, sir. Of course you can.
Here we go. This time it makes me go like, His quote is, "Let's be real." Oh yeah.
Marvel was a lot more than real today. They were graphically real.
Yeah, very nice.
I remember at one point when we were reviewing, Squid was like, "Oh, Marvel's not man enough to do certain stuff."
Wish granted!
Yeah.
You guys wanted darkness in your Marvel movies? Here it is.
I can imagine, like, families sitting down with the young kids being, oh yeah, it's just this show with, these characters, these Avengers that we've been following for a while. Let's sit down and watch this, and you get to the end of the episode. I don't want to be Captain America for Halloween anymore, Mummy.
And you know that John Walker suit is going to be at Halloween stores.
Oh yeah.
I remember that when WandaVision was starting, older people like grandparents would watch it with their kids.
Yeah.
Because of the sitcom elements from the past. They got really into it, and pretty much the whole family could enjoy WandaVision. How do you think those old people are feeling right now?
Old timers.
Oh dear, that guy got bludgeoned to death with a shield. Oh jeez.
Captain America would never do something so violent. He shut down millions of Nazi soldiers, had them burned alive, and got them incinerated by space cube from outer space.
You gotta give it to Wyatt Russell, dude. Man is nailing this character to the point where there are times I actually feel bad for him.
Yeah, a little bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Disney+Pals. Jeez. I'm joined by Jack. I'm joined by Callum.
Hola.
Jeez.
And in case you're wondering, Brooks is quite busy at the moment. He's accommodating a friend, but he has given us some food for thought to talk about. He mentioned him in a different chat. I'm just going to read it right now. Okay. Nope.
Oh, yeah,
also, hi, Brooks.
You
saying watching this.
We'll start with that.
Yeah, we'll just
he
get
could be watching this.
Yeah.
Be.
He'll be watching. Yes. Okay. It started with you saying shit got real, and then 5. You tell me about your thoughts. Having a bad day. Oh yes, I said poor Captain's having a bad day. He said he's not capped. Then I said maybe he still needs a handicap. So after that bad pun, Brooks said, so here are thoughts. I really think he left on a little sample or Ross so he can become Red Hulk. I then responded, one would require gamma radiation as well as the super serum to be something like Abomination. Then he said, or maybe he can take Abomination's blood sample to become Red Hulk. And I said, yeah, wherever Abomination is. But what happened to him in the MCU continuity anyway? I thought to myself.
I think he's in the raft.
Yeah, that's probably the best guess. He's probably in the raft. However, he is confirmed to come back in She-Hulk, which blew my mind. Because I was like, in my head, I was like, oh, I just want to see Abomination come back. I want to see more Hulk fights. And now we're going to get that.
All right.
But before we even get started, because guys,
was there much else from?
Oh, did Brooks have anything else? Don't say the rating yet. I know he also gave us that.
I don't think there was anything else beyond that, as such, aside from us talking and arranging stuff, I think.
The man wants Red Hulk. He knows what he wants. I can support that. But before we get into it, because I don't even think I can really synopsisize this, I think we just got to go in every element piece by piece, because a lot happened. This was definitely the people are complaining the other episodes are slow. All right, we hear you. Episode.
All right,
I've seen a few people complaining this episode was too fast. If anything, that was.
All right.
Oh yeah.
I just imagine the filmmaker saying, "All right, let's continue making this. Keep it nice, keep it grounded, but keep it real for the family." But then DC fanboys are going, "Ew, it's not dark enough." Oh, what's that? You want it darker? Okay, we'll bring you the darkness.
I gotta be real. I am so excited for the Hawkeye show now, just because there's a lot of like real serious stuff in the Hawkeye comic they're adapting, and I was like, I don't know if they're gonna do it. I don't know if they're gonna like do the scene where Clint loses his hearing. I don't know if we're gonna learn about Clint's abusive dad. I don't know if we're gonna learn about any of this stuff. But now that I've seen the scene with the cop in episode 2, the scene at the end of this episode, and all the little sprinkles of, no, we're telling a dark story, I trust these people more than ever. They will not hurt me. But before we get into discussing the plot of the episode, I just want to give brief shout out, because it's good to give people props when this happens, to the Zemo cut, I believe people are calling it. So Daniel Bruhl tweeted that there was actually a longer take of his dance from the last episode, and fans demanded that we see it. Everybody calling it the Zemo cut, to the point where Marvel Studios today drops an hour-long video of Zemo dancing.
To be fair, it's just 3 minutes on a loop, but it is an hour long, yeah.
I do, however, love the beat, though. Like, the beat isn't looped. The beat keeps going.
Right. What we need is the Marvel crossover everyone's now anticipating. Zemo cut Zemo versus Bully Maguire.
Well, here's the thing. You know how at the end of... This is going to be a weird reference, but you know how at the end of Shrek, the movie, there was like a karaoke style dance thing? That needs to be our after credit scene of the next Avengers film. I want to see everybody sing a song, a couple of the characters just dance. I would love that. I want to see Falcon sing I Believe I Can Fly.
To make another potentially obscure reference with that, this Zemo cut hour-long video really reminded me of, I think it was the day before Detective Pikachu came out. Ryan Reynolds and the official Detective Pikachu YouTube channel just uploaded Detective Pikachu brackets full movie, and it was the full-length video, and it's just a GIF of the Detective Pikachu character dancing.
It was so cute.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's our review of the Zemo cut. What would you guys rate it?
It got a little repetitive.
Yeah, a little repetitive. You know, they did reuse a lot of footage, but the song was good. Yeah. He wasn't wearing the mask.
Dancing was sensational, though.
No, I'd give that a solid 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to go 9.5 out of 10. I think I liked it a little more than you, but I do think we're on the same page here with how much we love it. Callum?
As for the karaoke, I expect Peter Quill to be putting on his awesome track.
Yeah, it'll be his mixtape, you know.
I just want Hawkeye coming in with "Hit Me with Your Best Shot." I want the whole thing.
Oh.
Iron Man with AC/DC or
Yeah.
But what is your joke rating for the Zemo cut, Callum?
No, your genuine rating for the Zemo cut.
Yes, of course. What is your rating for the Zemo cut?
3,000.
Okay, so we got 9, 9.5, and 3,000, making the Zemo cut probably the most popular thing we've ever reviewed on the channel. Nice. Glad we got there.
Only downhill from here.
Mm-hmm. This episode was terrible. No, it was great. It was a really good episode.
Have the Zemo cut.
All right, let's start at the beginning. What did you guys think of Wakanda and Bucky learning to be free and lose the words that control him?
Oof. Well, I mean, that in itself was getting quite real already, yes.
Oh yeah, Sebastian Stan with tears in his eyes. Winter Soldier is just climbing my favorite Marvel character list now.
Yeah, that's the most I've felt for Bucky Barnes in the entire MCU.
And at the end, when he's he looks so sad the entire time. He looks so scared and so sad and so sometimes angry. But then the second it actually works, and he realizes it works, he just bursts into tears, and then slowly, the biggest smile. And I also love the cut of Ayo, I believe her name is, or Io or something. I believe Ayo said something like, "You are free." And then afterwards it cut to her saying, "Why did you free Zemo?" It had symmetry and fine.
I do want to just, on that scene though, really good and everything. Did you guys say the color was a bit off there for whatever reason? Like, all the fire was a really yellowish, greeny yellow.
I did not notice that.
It might have just been my monitor or something, but watching, I thought, okay, that's a bit of a... I assume they did shoot it at night / in the dark, so it might just be them trying to compensate for it being too dark, but there's some weird gradient on that.
Wakanda in general is a little famous for having some bad effects. Like in Black Panther, there's a scene where T'Challa is buried in the snow, and Chadwick Boseman didn't want to get in actual snow, so they CG'd the snow. It does not look like snow. It looks like I can't even describe it. It's like a styrofoam blanket.
I think Black Panther just needed a higher CG specific budget. Because all the practical stuff and everything looks great.
Yes.
The CG does not. And the weird thing is, like you said, the snow, Sam Raimi's, Sandman scene from Spider-Man 3. How have we gone back from that?
I mean, I agree with you full-heartedly. That's probably the best scene in Spider-Man 3.
Oh, yeah.
But you don't stand, they don't like sand. It's harsh, it's rough, it's irritating. It gets everywhere.
Now, the best scene is when the truck goes by and Harry Osborn just disappears because he is totally hiding under a table.
Right. Falcon and Winter Soldier, though, this episode.
Yep, with this episode, there was some good stuff. I loved seeing Wakanda. I didn't think we were going to see it.
Wakanda forever, yes.
But we did. And can I just say that this series, even more than WandaVision, I love how small the universe feels. What I mean by that is, in WandaVision, you had Darcy, Jimmy Woo, and Monica Rambeau all hanging out. Those are 3 different characters from 3 different movies that just crossed over Avengers style. And in this one, we're getting the same thing. The Adora Milaje have been showing up. We're getting people constantly referencing Avengers Age of Ultron. Like, Sokovia, I think, is mentioned more in this show than it ever is in the rest of the MCU. They just keep talking about it.
It's a small universe after all.
I just love it. I love that it feels contained. Like, freaking War Machine can show up for an episode and we'll never see him again. I love just that the world feels alive. And it feels like a real world.
We never see War Machine again until he appears in Space Jam.
Yes. Yeah, true.
Well, he's got to fight Bugs Bunny. And then after he fights Bugs Bunny, he'll come back and he'll save the world.
Yeah. I mean, Rhodey was an AI at some point in the comics. It works.
Yeah, that still works. This is all fine. None of this is strange. Bugs Bunny is canon. So how did we feel about Zemo in this episode?
Great.
Yes. Yes, Callum, you said wait.
Oh no, he said great.
Oh, I thought he said wait.
There was a strong G at the start of that.
Don't go too far. Let's not talk about the best aspect of the episode. No, patience.
You're loving Zemo? You just said it was the best. Why don't you talk about that a little?
I don't know. I just kind of had a soft spot for these kind of characters who use their wits about them to solve the situations more so than their fists. Zemo is the type of person who will probably know the right things to say and just get everyone pissed off at each other to fight off. He's done it before. He could do it again. So there's always this hesitation, like any moment these characters could snap. And I look at Zemo throughout various parts and thinking, okay, I can understand why he'd want to earn their trust in some parts, but then there's this little scene where as they're looking for their freckle face, I'm just calling her freckle face because I can't remember her name.
Carly.
Sam and Bucky are looking around the building. People don't seem to want to talk, but Zemo, tragically enough being a family man, approaches the children and offers them a Turkish delight note. A Disney fanatic, if you've learned anything from Narnia, don't take the Turkish delight. And he's, even though, stranger danger, Zemo knows how to be with children because he himself was a father. So it makes sense for him to catch their attention with a nursery rhyme, give them sweets, be quite a gentle and playful with them, and then asking for a hint. And then he just literally says, "Oh, secret between you and me, those two, they're bad." And that just made me say, "You sneaky rascal! You sneaky little rascal!"
Did you agree that Baron Zemo has a rascal?
Yes, you heard me say that.
Go ahead, Jay.
I agree. There's he had a son. We know that family man aspect. But there's also as you were saying, he knows exactly what buttons to press with everyone. It's okay, kids, sing a song that they know, give them sweets. Knows exactly, okay, I want to get this information. And while Sam's going through the building, just shouting out the name of the person he's looking for, Zemo goes to the kids. Kids are always smarter than people think. He gets down, he sits down, he gets on their level to talk to them. It's that master manipulator angle as well.
Was it creepy for anyone else, though, when he was singing Ba Ba Black Sheep?
I immediately thought this is very Pied Piper-esque.
My first thought, that's actually a really good comparison, Jack. My first thought was, oh, he's going to kill that girl. I literally thought he was going to pick up the girl and use her as a hostage to get away from Bucky or something. But no, he just gave her candy and found information.
Also, Bucky not doing his job. Sam was like, okay, man, you keep an eye on the pets. I'm going to go do our actual job. and he just lets him wander off and start talking to strange children he's never met. It's like, come on, man.
I think what this show is trying to do is, I think both John Walker and Zemo might end up on the Thunderbolts team later.
Okay.
So if that's true, I think they're setting up Zemo because, like, in the first movie, he was a great manipulator, but he was a villain. Like, you kind of got why he did it, but he was a bad dude. Here, he's still not a good dude, but it's less so that, like, I'm the bad guy and I'm doing stuff for evil, and more like, no, I think I'm right. I think this is the good way to do things. And if it means I need to shoot a guy, hey, I'll do it because I'm saving the world.
Yeah.
Hey, this is exactly the same mindset as the main villains of this series, so be careful.
Yeah,
Very intentional.
They're asking big questions here, and, like, I think Carly will probably be a character that ends up getting redeemed. I don't think you can redeem Zemo. I think at this point he's too far gone. He believes what he believes. He's always going to believe it. Even to the point where Sam says, hey, you want to kill all the super soldiers. What's your plan for Bucky? And he just goes quiet.
Right. This sort of questionable, these looks into moral issues kind of got solidified when one of the assistants of, sorry, Freckleface at the graveyard.
Carly! Her name is Carly! I want you to repeat it to me. What is her name?
Emphasis.
Her name is Carly Nest.
So Carly's friend literally says, back then, it used to be good guys versus bad guys. Now, it's more complex. And I just thought to myself, you're one to talk.
Well, yeah, but they're kind of right. Like, here's the thing. They're doing bad things. They're killing people. They're doing acts of terrorism. But in their minds, they're doing them for good reasons. And I think that's why the scene towards the end, we're kind of jumping around a little. But the scene towards the middle or end where Falcon talks to her, and we see just how similar the two mindsets are. Where Carly is saying all this stuff, and Sam's like, "No, I agree with you. It's just you're going too far. You're going about it the wrong way."
In terms of you saying just there, Cal, that speak for yourself, like I've been a bit of a hypocrite. What sort of adds to the end of this episode is we've not seen that guy specifically do anything bad. It's like Carly blows up this whatever acronym place where they're storing food and everything, and he's like, "There are people in there. What are you doing?" I think the worst you could say he's done was he took part in that fight on the trucks, but even then everyone was wearing masks, so he could have been the guy driving for all we know. We've not actually seen this one guy commit a crime.
Was this the same guy who talked to Sam? Like, was he the teacher? Was that the same dude, or was that a different dude? Okay, just checking.
They were wearing different clothes. It might have been the same guy, but not that I'm aware.
Well, it is true that this guy didn't do anything wrong, which I think, like, even at the end, and we'll get to that scene at the end, even at the end, he's screaming, "I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything. It wasn't me. It wasn't me."
I did not do it.
It was an accident as well. It was, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We'll get to that when we get to it.
We'll get to it. But moving forward, so Zemo, of course, amazing villain. But let's talk about everyone else a little. We touched on Carly a little. How are we feeling about John Walker? Because I think he was kind of the star of this episode.
Oh, yeah. The Star Spangled. Yeah.
You know, whenever, like, people, Wyatt Russell, you're doing such a good job that people are getting mad at you for the stuff your character is doing.
Yeah.
That's some good acting right there. The world sucks.
I think Gwendolyn Christie on Game of Thrones has got a fair bit of hate in real life for her character's actions.
Yeah, it's kind of a tragic irony when an actor does too good a job with a character you're supposed to hate. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I don't think we're supposed to hate him. I think everyone is so blinded by the fact he's dressed as Cap that they're not listening to what he's saying. during that one scene where he's talking to Lamar, and he's like, "Would you take the serum?" And Lamar's like, "Yeah, imagine how many people we could have saved if we had it." Like, his motivation for taking the serum isn't the Dora Milaje beat me up. No, it's he wants to help more people, and that's noble. That's a good thing. And in the end, Steve had it.
I'd like to put disagree with you there.
Oh,
I
really?
think talking to Battlestar Galactica there, that was his mindset. Was, yeah, no, think of all the good that can be done. That was his answer to the question. Whereas John Walker was very much, I think he is sort of, I'm Captain America in a world of super soldiers, and I'm getting beaten up by people who aren't enhanced in the slightest. I think he is a bit more on that almost jealous side of things.
Well, everyone's jealous of John Walker. John Walker's getting jealous of the pressure. Jealous, yes.
I mean, that could be the case. Like, I guess that's two different ways to take the same scene. You are probably right. Like, I guess I'm giving a lot of props to John when it's mostly the words coming out of Lamar's mouth.
Yeah, which, as a scene as well, sort of initially, first time watching through, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is setting up him, like, let me ask my best friend his thoughts on taking the super soldier serum before I decide whether to take it or not. But looking back on it with the rest of the episode in mind, it's very much that give a character sudden backstory before you kill them off so the audience feels something.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like, remember what happened that day? The things we had to do? It's like, yeah, well, okay, he's dead and I still didn't feel anything. You tried.
I do think there is a good redeem a little. Like, Lamar's talking about, like, hey, don't beat yourself up. You have all these awards and stuff. And then John goes, yeah, but you know that, like, everything we did during the war wasn't... We didn't really earn these awards. Like, we did bad things. Which is why I love being Cap so much, because it actually feels like I'm doing good.
Yeah. I did like that. Yes, you're right.
I think he's human. I think Steve was a rare exception to where, like, humanity brought out the best in him. While this guy is a soldier, his humanity has been tested. And honestly, a lot of the Captain America movies are testing his humanity. This guy's already been tested, and it seems like he's failing.
Right. That's just reminded me all of a sudden of what the doctor said about the whole philosophy behind how the super soldier worked. He said, good becomes great. Great becomes worse.
Mm-hmm. That was touched on a bit in this episode as well. There was a line about that it makes you more you. Doesn't necessarily make you good, it makes you... It emphasizes what's already there.
Ah, it reminds me too much of myself. I was literally watching Ant-Man tonight with my parents.
In my head, during that one scene, after Sam has talked to Carly and everything went to shit, and Zemo gets some of the serum, I had a thought in my head, because in the comic, Zemo is a super soldier. Oh. He is from the past, and he, like, lives long enough to catch up with Captain America in the present. So what I thought was going to happen was he was going to go try to kill Carly, and Carly to escape him, because we've already been told that the serum, like, has effects. It makes your, like, veins burn and stuff. I thought she was going to inject Zemo with the serum. Okay. I kind of like the scene better, though, that, like, you know, because once again, it proves that in his mind, he's not the villain. He held a vial of super soldier serum, could have done anything with it, threw it on the ground, started smashing it.
Until John knocked it. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Zemo. I think he's a great villain. He's sticking to his word. He is consistent in his behavior. It just sucks that he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if he was on our team.
Yeah, he would have been a great intellect on the side of the good guys. That would have been so awesome. So awesome.
Maybe in What If Season 2 we'll get an episode of that. We'll see.
What if Baron Zemo was Captain America?
Yeah, anything's possible with the What If. What if Zemo was a girl? That's so on and so forth. I mean, anything's possible with What If. Is it just me, or do the characters holding the super serum is somewhat similar to people holding the One Ring, or like this great object of temptation or something?
I think you're right. Like, specifically with Walker.
Yes.
Like, I wonder, because Sam answered so quick when Zemo asked him. He was like, no, I wouldn't have taken the serum. I wonder if they would have taken the serum if they got it, though. Like, would Sam have actually wanted to use it? Because, you know, I think Sam is a good man. I wonder what the serum would have done to him. Would it make him better or worse? I don't know.
Would have made him Captain Falcon.
I mean, he's already going to become Captain Falcon. That's just coming.
You gotta turn his suit blue, get a yellow scarf, get himself a speedy machine, and go fight Mario and Sonic.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
It would have been interesting had Zemo not gotten to Carly and the vials first. If Sam or Bucky had, you'd have a new moral dilemma. What do we do? Do we hand this over to the US government? Do we destroy it ourselves so no one can use it? Do we ourselves use it? That would have been an interesting way to go down the story, yeah.
The only thing that could have perfected the soldier serum is if the following tune was playing in the background.
I don't think it's necessarily got a One Ring quality to it in the same way. I think it is very much just it makes you more of you, as said earlier this episode. It's the absolute power corrupts absolutely mindset.
The thing I would compare it to, Cal, is, you know how in Spider-Man Far From Home, everyone was like, who's going to be the next Iron Man? There's a gap in this world that Mysterio could fill. I think it was that. I think it was looking at these people. One of them literally dressed like Captain America, and all of them saw the potential to do a lot of good and become greater than themselves. And they all asked the question, would we do it? And Sam said no, because he can help people without it. But John Walker said yes, because I think a good chunk of his character does have to do with power. I think it's kind of a balance between what I said and Jack said. Like, I think somewhere in the middle, he's a good person who actually wants to do some good, but he realizes what that means. And I don't think he himself thinks he's ready for it, and he wants to be. And it's like this jealousy thing where he's like, I need to be Captain America. It's the only way I feel fulfilled.
Alright.
Agreed? Yeah.
So did you guys have any specific things in this episode you wanted to talk about? Because there is a lot. We haven't
so much to discuss.
really scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love the action in this episode. I thought there was a lot of it. I thought by far this was the most action-packed. I also love seeing the return of Falcon's wings.
Yep.
And I just love seeing him in that costume that looks so much like the comics.
The red and white, yeah.
Yeah.
I liked... So here's a question, because from how we were situated at the end of episode 2, I thought, okay, they might go down this road, we'll see what happens though. And it was brought up a little bit this episode as well, right at the very start. Do you guys think Hydra has any involvement whatsoever? Because that was the whole reason for breaking Zemo out, was Super Soldier Serum, Hydra, this guy knows a lot about Hydra. Let's go talk to him.
I have a theory about that, but I'm going to save it for the end.
Okay.
What do you think, Callum?
I mean, obviously they broke Zemo out because they were hunting down people who caught Soldier Serum, and he was an expert on it, so they broke him out.
Well, he's not an expert on the Super Soldier Serum. He's an expert on Hydra.
Right.
And he immediately knew about the Power Broker kind of hinting at that maybe the power broker has something to do with Hydra.
Could be. I've got a different power. Let's talk that at the end. Our power broker theories as well, because I've got another thing on that.
If Hydra's
Trust me, I got something for that too.
There's gonna be dedicated Red Skull cult out there, just still carrying on the Hydra business. Yes.
Funny you mentioned Red Skull. Might be part of my theory later.
Oh, okay.
I do wonder if Hydra plays a role. My honest answer is right now, I don't know. I could see them going the Hydra route and then Hydra becoming a villain again for a little bit. And I do know a certain character they could bring in to bring back Hydra.
Okay.
But I truly don't know.
I think I'm on the side of probably not. I think it was good to be brought up and everything before, and it gets Zemo back in the story, and it's MCU. This is all continuing the same story, so it makes sense that they think of it. But I don't think so. Again, we've got 2 episodes to go, and it's already quite chock full of stuff to cover. I think adding Hydra might be a bit too much, but we'll see.
I mean, I think the only way they could do it sort of organically is just to go, oh yeah, the power broker is an agent of Hydra, and everyone who works for the power broker is Hydra. I think that's the easy way.
I think that's the easy way of doing it. But again, because the idea being, oh, the super soldiers, they got the serum, Erskine died, so there was no more that the US had. Hydra did, because they gave it to Bucky and everything. But the super soldier serum that, up until this episode, was in circulation was from this one scientist who's dead now, and he got it via Isaiah's blood. So Hydra wasn't even involved in this batch in any way. So I don't think they're going to be involved at all at this point.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. Again, I think there's one possible way they could be, but I'll save it for the end.
Yeah, if you were to hunt down some Hydra agents, you just think, how are we going to hunt down the Hydra agents? Okay, step back. I'll hunt them down. Hail Hydra! Hail Hydra! Oops. Bang!
You just go around whispering in everyone's ear until someone whispers it back, you know?
You know what it's going to be, guys? Paul Bettany is going to make a cameo where we find out Vision is secretly a Hydra bot.
Ooh.
And has been the whole time. Why do you think he wears green?
Ooh.
He specifically mentioned green.
He
Oh, because
wears
that's
green.
the Hydra color.
Hydra is green. Coincidence? Only a fool would say yes.
A few other things I've got just on this page in my notes. TT. Have any of you ever heard an ant referred to as TT before, or was that something new to you as well?
That was a new definition for me too.
Yeah.
That was new, but I do actually call my grandfather Papaw.
Okay.
That's just what we call him. He's our Papaw. So I get that shit.
Yeah. Every family has a wee nickname for them, you know.
I get having like a TT and stuff like that, and honestly, it made him a little more human when freaking Bucky was like a TT. That tells me nothing about who this person is to you.
Yeah. International displaced persons I liked as well. They call them refugees. It's like, no, we are not refugees. We're not seeking refuge from anything. We're just displaced because everyone came back.
Are you guys also, speaking of like, you know, familial ties and stuff like that, are you guys noticing the subtlety with Sam? Because whenever like him and Bucky were called partners in this, Sam was like, oh, he's not my partner. He's not.
Yeah.
But then when John directly says to Bucky, your partner's in there, and if he dies, his blood is on your hand, John does end up getting into that room, so we have to assume Bucky let him past.
Which is also a nice tie-in to then what ends up happening to Battlestar, that, yeah, that's his partner, and that's what drives him to do what he does.
Again, Zemo knows a lot of things. Lots of things.
I just think it's neat that Bucky seems to, like, be more comfortable talking about his feelings and stuff. Like, he talked about how, like, if Cap was wrong about Sam, then maybe he was wrong about him. He seemed decently open with the therapist.
Yeah, we could say the therapist doing him some good.
And now he legit seems to, like, view Sam very highly, which to me makes it all the more heartbreaking that, you know, he essentially threw away the shield, which clearly Bucky cares deeply for.
I want to see that nurse again.
Nurse?
By the way, I did want to bring this up.
No, the therapist. I said nurse, sorry. I want to see that therapist again.
I think we might. I think, like, at the end of this show, we might get the return to normalcy, return to episode 1. Bucky will go on another date and talk to his therapist, and Sam will be sorting out his life with the boat and his sister. And I think that's how you end it, and you see, here's what they have learned from this experience.
I think that next episode, they're gonna get the shield, because we know they get the shield at some point.
Yeah.
So I think they're gonna get the shield. They're gonna go back home, and Bucky's gonna go talk to that guy whose son he killed.
Okay.
And I think that's going to be a big moment where, like, maybe Bucky can't do it, and then Sam comes in to, like, kind of explain it in a little better detail, and maybe we'll see that man forgive Bucky. I don't know. I just feel like there has to be a moment where Sam and Bucky work together to solve the real problems they're facing in their lives.
Yeah, I like that.
Because if not, why did you show them? So I did want to ask you guys this question, though, because I found myself trying to answer this question. If somebody came to you and said, congratulations, you're the next Captain America, what would you do?
I'm going to steal this before Callum does. We're both Scottish, so I have a bit of a problem there. Let me grab my blue and white flag that's hanging over my laptop right now.
Freedom!
Okay. What if someone came to you and said,
Tism, you're outnumbered, Neil!
Hold on! What if someone came to you and said, okay, here's the story of this hero who did so much good. Here's his legacy. Will you be the next carrier of his torch?
I would love to be the next William Wallace, yes.
I don't even know who that is.
Scottish history. I was going to say Bonnie Prince Charlie, but that works too.
You've not seen Braveheart!
I haven't seen Braveheart.
Right.
Get some culture!
I thought about it. I argued with myself. I don't think I could do it. I thought about the history of Captain America that I've learned from reading a bunch of comic books. Just seeing what I've seen in these movies as well. I do not think I could look at that shield and say, yeah, that's mine. The entire time, I honestly think I'd do what Sam did and be like, this belongs to you. If you're not going to use it, no one should use it.
This belongs in a museum.
So do you!
I think I would say, can I do a trial run?
Hey!
You're coming to me thinking that I am qualified, so I'll take your word for it and give it I'll go on one mission and see how I feel about it. I'd probably also turn it down, yeah.
Yeah, I just think when you ask yourself the question, would I do it, you realize the weight of the question and realize that Sam is kind of completely justified. Like, he's right to be afraid of the shield. He's right to be scared. And meanwhile, Bucky is like, no, I'll take it if you don't. I don't think I'm worthy of this legacy, but I believe the legacy has to keep going. So if you're not going to take it, me, baby.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like being asked, you're going to be the next Doctor of Doctor Who, or you're going to be the next carrier for One for All, so eat this hair. Yes.
It would be extremely, like, daunting if it was like, here's this legacy. Continue it. Like, I think you hit the nail on the head, Callum, when you said it's like accepting the role of Doctor Who. You have to, like, pay tribute to what came before. You have to be your own person. And you have to be good at doing what came before and being your own person. And there's so much stuff in that is out of your control, like the stories you're given and the missions you have to go on. I don't know, man.
Because you brought up Doctor Who. I was thinking it, but then you said Doctor Who, and it reminded me. There's an episode which I've forgotten the title of it, but it's back in the Doctor Who new series, Christopher Eccleston, season 1. The episode after Dalek, they take the new character, they met Adam, along on the adventure. And you realize he's really not suited to this. That episode and that character purely exists to show the audience not just anyone can be a companion to the Doctor and go on these adventures. And I feel like John Walker's sort of doing that here. Granted, he's a soldier, 3 medals of honor and all that, but it's showing not just anyone can be Captain America. It's you know, you can sit and watch and go, oh, he's doing a terrible job, but you in that situation wouldn't do any better.
That guy from Doctor Who got a hole drilled in his head. That way he could talk to computers.
Just like that.
I want to see that happen with John Walker. I put the serum through this hole in my head that's just there now.
That's the point I wanted to bring up. So when John is sitting with Battlestar, I keep forgetting his actual name. When they're sitting and he asks, like, oh, would you take the serum if you could? And they have that discussion. And then next time we see John Walker, he's clearly taken it. He throws the shield and it lodges itself halfway into a wall. That means, like, some point between that moment, I just imagine he's sitting having this discussion and he's like, okay, cool. Give me a minute, I've got to go to the bathroom. And then he's just wandering around Latvia looking for a heroin needle or something lying on the streets that he can use for this serum. Because you need to inject it, is what we've been told. So, is he just carrying this? Did he go out and find a needle somewhere?
Oh, do you have a needle? Yo, do you have a needle?
Anyone got a syringe I can use? He just bursts into a hospital. Hey, Captain America, I have jurisdiction here. Give it.
I mean, I will give him the benefit of the doubt because we do see the scene. Okay, so they're out theoretically having dinner, and then we see Carly in a phone call with Sam's sister. Then next time we see Sam, it's daytime. So theoretically, a day or two might have passed since then. Maybe he had time to, like, find a needle, inject himself, and then also deal with the process of, like, his body adapting to it.
Yeah, because it was, you know, veins on fire and everything. So yeah, it might have been a day or two in between. Fair.
We didn't see John actually take it. We just saw it put it in his nasty little pockets.
But yes, we saw him take the one last vial. But
he did use it though.
He used it on himself, 100%, because he was fighting hand to hand with these other super soldiers who knocked him on his ass last time. Again, he threw the shield and it launched itself halfway into a wall.
He bent the pipe
He bent the pipe. That was it. Yeah.
And literally, Sam looks at him and goes, "What have you done?"
I love.
But
in our video last week, I worked out. I was like, okay, so there were this many vials, and they've used 8 of them, but that one guy died, so there's 7. So okay, so there's 13 vials left, and they just all got smashed bar 1 this episode. I'm like, okay, that was a waste of time. Cool.
who was she gonna give the vials to?
Just more people, increase their numbers.
I mean,
warriors,
that's cool.
soldiers.
That's cool. I was hoping she was gonna. So my theory was she was gonna give them to one guy, and make the guy like a super jacked up boss fight.
Whoa!
Like the Flag Smasher from the comics, that sort of guy.
Ah.
Yeah, kind of like that. But now I do want to ask another question, and I think this will help us discuss this episode a little. What was your guys' favorite action sequence? Because there were like 4.
Yeah. Let me think.
Personal favorite, since it's fresh on my mind, it's simply because of the action of one character. Basically, it's a scene where Zemo, Sam, and Bucky are in their apartment, but then all of a sudden, John and Sam appears. Then all of a sudden, the Wakandans appear, and I can just imagine Harry Hill coming in there saying, "I do like the Wakandans, and I do like Sam and Falcon and John, but which is better? There's only one way to find out. Fight!"
British TV reference. Okay.
I agree with you. I love that fight scene. I think this is where John kind of finally does his overstep.
Yeah.
Because we've seen John like go through some shit and just kind of take it like he just kind of took it. Like a guy spit in his face and he screamed, "Do you know who I am?" But he didn't like hurt the guy more or anything. You know, we've seen all these situations where people do not see him as the real Captain America. They're mocking him and stuff. But here he's like, "Okay, I'm Captain America. That's Baron Zemo. I'm arresting him. You can't stop me. You want to fight? Oh, I'll put down the shield. Let's go." And...
Sorry.
Well, I just love it because he's being so cocky in that moment where he's like, "Oh, I need it to be fair, Sam." And then you just see the spear.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about the Dora Milaje like I do, I was like, ooh. He's gonna get punted. They are gonna take him to a window and kick his ass out.
But
and I loved it. He more than anyone else got beat up the most. Go ahead, though.
That I noticed the most, I was immediately thinking of, no, guys, you're gonna get distracted. Zemo's gonna, and I saw Zemo just go like,
yeah.
Here's the thing, though. I think Zemo's going to reunite with them again, because every time Zemo is left, and he has had several chances to escape, each time he just goes, "Oh, hey, guys, here I am in a moment where you need me."
Yeah. I can see that.
He ditched them in Madripoor.
Yeah, he probably just, he pieced out so the Dora Milaje wouldn't get him, and he's like, okay, they've left. I can team up with the other 2 again now. It's safe.
I think he went to the memorial. I think he went to the memorial of Sokovia. Which, by the way, have you guys heard the Latveria rumors?
I have not.
So Lavera, I believe, is the place they were today.
Latvia, I think, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, I think so. Well, that's like
near Spain.
I'm pretty sure in the comics that neighbors Latveria, which is, you don't know what Latveria is. That's Doctor Doom's big nation that's just his. So here it neighbors Sokovia, I guess. That's why there's a Sokovia mural there. So the big theory is Doctor Doom, when he comes into the MCU, is going to go to the shattered nation that once was Sokovia and turn it into Latveria. Do you guys think that's possible?
I could see that. It was said before that the land that was Sokovia has been overtaken by its neighboring countries. But one of those could be Latveria, perhaps? I don't know.
If Sokovia is indeed nearby, then yeah, sure, why not?
I think that was a lot of people's theory after the Age of Ultron as well. It's like, oh, this country's in disarray, and they're looking for a leader. We can have Victor Von Doom come in and fill that void.
It would kind of make sense if it was like, oh, this area that like currently is being taken over by other nations. I'll just swoop in.
Yeah.
We'll call it Latveria.
I could see that.
My favorite action scene. I love the one you brought up. I love that they beat the ever-loving shit out of John Walker.
Yeah.
Walker beat
but my favorite was the one at the end. So, Jack, did you like the other one? If so, we can talk about that real quick before we talk about the one at the end.
The one at the end I thought was okay, but how the one at the end ends is sort of what boosts it up. I think... What was the other one? Because a lot of the action scenes sort of merged together for me, because it was all, aside from, as Callum brought up, when the Dora Milaje come in, it was all just the exact same characters fighting through similar-looking buildings in the same city. It all felt a bit samey to me.
I feel you. There was an action scene where this is where like John gets the super soldier serum, and
right after
Zemo's trying to destroy it. Yeah, it's after Carly pisses him off.
Yeah, I did like that. I do think my favorite was again the Dora Milaje in their wee hideout. But no, that fight was good as well, because the moment it's like, okay, you see the handcuffs, Zemo's got out, and we just follow Carly coming into a room alone. I'm like, okay, and Zemo is here waiting. She comes around a corner and he shoots. He gets a body shot. I'm pretty sure. It's like, okay, yeah, no.
Oh yeah, I straight up thought he was gonna take the serum, and in my head I was like, okay, this is where Zemo becomes the main villain. She's going to like stab him with the serum or something, like a syringe with the serum in it. He's gonna shoot her, she'll die, and then he's gonna lay on the ground in writhing pain.
I think
that didn't happen.
I prefer that he smashed the vials over that. But
oh yeah, me too.
That would have been a good way to tee it up for like in the comics. But can you imagine the number of people online that would be mocking her for making such a stupid move there?
I mean, running away, and she dropped them by accident. She didn't do it on purpose.
Oh yeah, but had she intentionally like stabbed him with the serum as an attempt to attack,
that would be even than Joker trying to kill Batman at the end of Arkham City. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it does like hurt you. The serum like hurts you for a little bit, so she probably would have used that as a distraction and either A, ran away, or B, at least tried to.
Fair.
Whilst Carly's fresh in my mind, do you think I should bring up the fact that Carly threatened Sam's sister?
Oh, yeah, that's definitely.
And his nephews, yeah, that's a fair point. It's very much, feel like... I don't, as you said earlier in this video, Neil, about, that they might redeem Carly, but they're not going to redeem Zemo. I agree, they're not redeeming Zemo. I don't want Zemo redeemed. I like him just as he is. But Carly, I don't know. She's not done enough.
She did reveal to Sam that it was a bluff. She literally said, "I'd never heard him."
Yeah, and you're just taking her for her word on that, you know. You can't just go around saying to people, "Oh yeah, I'm going to shoot you if you don't do what I want you to do." You still can't say that.
Oh yeah, no, she's a bad person.
Yeah, she's a bad person, but I don't think she's done enough to be irredeemable either. So I could see her turn around, but I want it to be earned when they do.
Yeah, I would recommend prank phone calls of threatening people. Bart Simpson, don't you dare impersonate Liam Neeson, okay?
Eat my shorts. I do think that I do think she's going to be redeemed. I don't think she's going to die. Because, okay, let me rephrase this actually. Either A, she's going to be redeemed, or B, she's going to die for her mission. Because that's the only two ways I can see this character going. Because
one martyr for the Flag Smashers. She could be next.
In my head, I was like, okay, so from an action standpoint, the final fight needs to somehow involve Falcon's wings, right? Because that's his superpower.
Right.
So if you're going to have a big a big climactic fight, Falcon's got to fly. So I was in my head, okay, what could they do?
Taurus becomes a Birdman in the battle.
I kind of fold off that train. I'm not going to lie. If he was becoming a Birdman, they would have set it up by now.
Yeah.
But I think that there's going to be a situation where the climax starts between Carly. It's between Carly and Sam. Maybe he has to fly to a top of a building or something to fight her. And then either A, Sam talks her out of doing whatever the big plot is. Because I thought that she was going to try to do like an Amazing Spider-Man where she puts the super soldier serum into a device that disperses
like an aerosol, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was my thought. And then like she'd be redeemed, and then John Walker would come in and try to get the serum, and he'd be the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
But now I'm just confused because Power Broker might actually be the main villain. Zemo has to play a role in that final climactic scene somehow. What is happening? I just hope that all of these different pins they're juggling don't fall and hit them in the face.
Yeah.
I just really want a cool action scene at the end.
I think the thing is, I thought this immediately after this episode ended, I feel almost like this should have been perhaps more of the halfway point, rather than, there's 2 episodes left now. Because if you think, sort of, for the final 2 episodes of WandaVision, it's like, okay, Agatha's the bad guy, we need to deal with Pietro, and Wanda needs to get over her grief and deal with the family and the town. You knew what needed to happen. This is the checklist. But here, it's like, okay, Power Broker is this nebulous entity that is out there somewhere. We've got now Walker's just done this. Carly is still on the run. Zemo's out there somewhere. There's a lot more loose ends that could go anywhere. The only thing I know for certain needs to happen is what's being shown in the trailers. It's like, okay, there'll be this shot of Zemo next to this monument. There'll be Sam and Bucky throwing the shield against a tree. That's about it. There's a lot of ground to be covered in these last 2 episodes already.
I agree. We haven't even seen Bucky in a Captain America suit yet. I feel like that's going to be at the end. But
might be kind of unusual, but I mean, an American suit has been possible with other outfits. I mean, we've got the Iron Patriot, which we saw in Iron Man 3. So,
well, there have been toys released of what the suit could look like.
Okay.
But not talking about those at all. Okay. In the comics, it's basically a combination of the Captain America suit and the Falcon suit.
Huh, that's funny. You of all people used to talk about toys and merchandise a lot on this podcast.
I don't want to give spoilers.
Yeah, when they leak and reveal stuff, cough, cough, Funko Five Nights at Freddy's merch. Yeah, try your best to ignore that.
Right.
You guys have better be losing the license.
Exists. I acknowledge there's a way to find it. I ain't saying shit about it.
Okay.
Right.
Which is while we're on toys, follow the Marvel Instagram page. They've revealed the Baron Zemo Funko Pop, and hey Funko, I like you again. I'm 100% buying that. in the coat with the mask, yes.
I want his mask.
I know.
I know at one point someone was like, "I want that coat." I want the mask.
Yeah, I went on YouTube and looked up DIY tutorials for making the mask and couldn't find anything.
All you need is a purple woolly and then just cut 2 holes in it. Boom, Zemo mask.
Fair.
That's not enough, Callum. It has to be perfect.
Fur coat, exact size,
Guys.
diet.
I think we put it off long enough.
Bum, 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 bum.
There was something pretty dark in this episode. And I think we need to talk about that whole action scene.
No, we don't.
I'll start us off. Did you just say no, we don't? Jack? No, we don't. Let's just review the next episode. It's not out yet, Jack.
My reality.
Okay.
Let's just write our own next episode.
Fan fiction?
No more responsibilities.
Okay, yeah.
So, I'll start us off. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's a good summary. Good night, everyone.
I was watching the scene and it was fun. I loved seeing Falcon's suit back because we haven't seen that since episode 2. So I loved seeing the wings pop out. I loved seeing the suit. I was really into it. Oh, Lamar, honey, I knew he was going to die. I knew it. The second they tied him up, I was like, he's going to get free. He's going to join the fight late. He's going to die. In my head, I didn't know if it was going to be Carly who did it or not. But I like the fact that it was an accident. I like that he was trying to save John, meaning now John probably blames himself a lot for Lamar's death. He died saving somebody, which I like. But the dude died, and then in that moment, U.S. Agent was born because he jumps out that window, breaks a car, and that scene at the end, I think we all know what that is an allegory for. I think we all know that is referencing real life police brutality. What was that?
Brutality. I was going to say the fall of America, but you just said police brutality.
America's still standing.
We're still kicking.
The funny thing is, as well, like saying police brutality, being down in England, in Bristol, over the past, there's been a bunch of protests and stuff. There's been a lot of bills and stuff that the government's trying to put through at the moment. But the police in the UK, or at least in England, the riot gear is literally, I saw it, and I'm like, I can't wait for Falcon and Winter Soldier. It's literally a circular, like, transparent shield. I'm like, oh, I can't not think Captain America there as police brutality. And then this happens, and it's like, oh, yay! This is going to be used for lots of memes. Oh.
I don't think it's good.
First of all, I got to say that when I saw this scene, it actually left me at the end of the episode not happy. I felt very uncomfortable. And I think that that's what they were going for.
100%.
Like, they wanted you to look at this and be like, we're talking about this. We are bringing this up. It's an issue. We're talking about it. It's real, and we can't pretend it's not. So,
who wants to talk dramatic detail?
Well, the image of the shield. That shield, which so much of my life I have viewed as a heroic thing. When I've read these stories about the man who would single-handedly stop wars. The man who would oppose and stick to what he believed in no matter what. The man who, in a perfect world, is what America could be. Seeing that shield covered in blood, that hit me hard. Just the visual of this tool that was once used for protection and to save the world just ended a life, and it is not pretty. It just really reiterates that John Walker's hands are not the right ones for this legacy. And it really screwed me up. Like, I got on stream after this, and I was like, so tonight, Marvel killed me. And I am dead. And that was the whole stream.
He bludged you with his shield to the head.
Yes, he killed me that night. How did you guys feel about that stuff? Because at this point, I just admire that they did it. But at the moment, I was not comfortable.
It was uncomfortable, yes. The two great shots from that sequence were John Walker holding the shield up above his head, staring down, screaming, about to deliver that first blow, and then him standing almost triumphant at the end with the massive smear of blood dripping off the shield. Those two shots were great. But no, yeah. If you think about it, and I will talk about this later in terms of Falcon's philosophy on killing and stuff, but the shield has only ever been used defensively to block stuff. He's thrown it, knocked people out before, knocked them to the ground. It's never killed anyone before. This was the shield that has been fixed up, but this is the shield that got brought into the fight against Thanos in Endgame. This thing's been through a lot. And this is, dare I say, the worst shape it's been in.
Oh yeah, I completely agree. But this shield got torn in half. And yet, I believe with all of my heart, it looked better broken than it does bloodied.
I was thinking...
Like, honestly, it would have been better if they destroyed it than giving it to John Walker.
Well, seeing it covered in blood, I thought, imagine if the shield... It'd be very impractical had this been the way they went, that it had never been repaired, reforged, or anything at any point during the story. So it's got Black Panther's scratch mark on it. It's broken and covered in blood. It was brought up again this episode. I kind of hope that they do destroy the shields at the end of this show. Because after the video, all these people filming that, after all those videos, all the different angles on this event go viral, you cannot carry that shield as a positive image anymore.
I agree with you.
You can try and change it, which could be the whole idea. No, I'll take it back and make it like it was for Steve again. You can do that, you can try it, but...
Cancel the shield! Cancel the shield! Cancel Captain America!
Cancel John Walker as Captain America.
But do not send Wyatt Russell death threats.
No,
people.
He's great. Again, Black Mirror. Go check that out for more of his performances.
Cancel the actor, because we're whiny babies who can't be mature. Cancel the actor.
Callum, eat a Snickers. Calm down.
Yeah.
I agree with you. I do think there's going to be a scene in the very near future where we get a moment where it's like, what are we doing with the shield? We keeping it or destroying it? And maybe that's the tearjerker moment that the director has been hinting at. Maybe the shield does get destroyed in episode 5. Maybe Falcon makes his own shield.
Well,
that could be cool.
This has just come to mind, actually. Something they could perhaps do. A few ideas have just clicked together like Lego for me there. In this episode, after the Dora Milaje come in and they have their fight and everything, one of them picks up the shield to take it with them back to Wakanda, because it's vibranium. As far as they're concerned, this is, their property. But the leader, Move or You'll Be Moved girl, I've forgotten her name, we said it earlier, says, no, leave it. So I could see perhaps that's how we end up destroying it. We return it to Wakanda and they melt it down to make whatever else. But then, is the idea that Falcon having the shield, yes, that'd be cool. But as we saw in episode 1, the wings can already make a shield, so perhaps ideas clicking together there just for me. What if they melt down this shield and use it to reinforce/make vibranium wings for Falcon? I think I'd quite like that. That's the new cap.
Oh, I'd love vibranium wings. But I think there's going to be a conversation with Bucky where he says something like, look at the legacy of the shield. It's been ruined. Now we can either, in that legacy, in the shield, we can pick it up, even though it's covered in blood, even though it's dirty and sullied, even though this legacy has been tainted, we can try to make something good of it again. And I would love that. I would love that scene. But I also agree with you. There's a good chance they could destroy the shield. They keep talking about it.
Yeah.
Maybe they will.
It was mentioned purely because it was mentioned again in this episode. I think that I'd love them to go down that route. But the thing is, and I would love for them to try and we're going to keep the shield and we're going to make it a good symbol again. But the thing is, in the next Captain America movie, where it focuses on Sam, or I'm going to be watching it and just seeing the shield with that big blood smear on it.
Oh yeah, I agree.
That has, for me, basically tainted the image quite literally. It's like I'm going to struggle to split out that for a wee bit. Granted, we've got next week. There'll be another episode where they will have cleaned it off. But
you know what they could do? Oh, I just had a cool idea.
Go for it.
I want this to be how they do it. It could be both of our ideas, where Sam does become Captain America. He takes the shield. He's fighting Carly. And maybe Zemo's there, and Zemo's like, you have to kill her. And the way that he redeems the shield is in that moment where he could kill Carly, just like Cap did with Iron Man. He drops it. He drops the shield, he runs up, and I don't know, maybe he talks her down, or maybe he saves the day by being compassionate.
I like that.
I'd like it too.
That could work, yeah.
And then Zemo takes the shield and uses it as a bobsled at the end.
Crashing through the snow.
Wakanda's chasing me.
Which is a fair point. They're still out there after him, apparently.
For a civil war that I have caused. Ha ha ha.
We've given up rhyming.
But if we did give up rhyming,
Zemo slays, Zemo slays.
Our last question of today is applicable to the next episode. Specifically, we know that next episode is supposed to have a cameo. We know that next episode is supposed to be a tearjerker. And one more piece of information has been revealed. Apparently...
Is this safe to say?
It's not a leak. It's not a leak. The director said it.
Okay, go for it, yeah.
Apparently, this cameo is by someone who is female.
Okay.
So it's a lady showing up.
Whoa, 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 it's a lady.
So, my question, I guess 2 questions. What do you think will be the cry moment next episode? What do you think the cameo is going to be? And, like, how much do you think this will affect the plot? Because what we know about this cameo is the director said, this person is very ground level. I would love to see them interact with a character like Thor, though. I think they'd be great together. So all we know is ground level, female, secret cameo. I do have a theory of who this could be based on nothing more than the comics.
Okay.
But do you guys want me to go first so you can think about your answers for a minute?
Is this a character we've already seen in the MCU, or is this someone from the comics we're going to be introduced to?
We don't know yet.
We don't know.
Right.
I'd like I'll go first. I think the cry moment, it being labeled the cry moment, makes you think, makes me think, are we going to lose a character? And if it's going to make you cry, it needs to be a character we care about, which basically narrows it down to Bucky, Sam, Sharon, and Zemo. Unless they're going to bring in some other character from the MCU who hasn't been in the rest of the show, whatever. But you're not killing off Sam or Bucky. The show is titled Falcon and the Winter Soldier. If it was just called Falcon, I'd be worried for Bucky right now. But it's not. We're not losing either of them. I highly doubt we're losing Zemo, and they won't expect you to cry over that. Which just leaves Sharon, and that's not going to make people cry either. So I don't think it's going to be a character death. I like your idea of it perhaps being the destruction of the shield. That's of anything it could be. That's what I'm going to go with. With the cry moment, the symbol being melted down in a forge in Wakanda or something. That's my current guess because I can't think what else it would be. There's nothing. So I can't think what else would make me cry.
For the cry moment, let's focus on that for a minute. I think there's a real argument to be made that Bucky could die in the next episode. I don't think he's gonna, but here's the thing. Let's say next episode is when Sam puts on the Captain America suit, or doesn't actually. Let's say this is Sam talking down Carly. Sam turns Carly to the good side in episode 5. Episode 4 is dealing with the Power Broker and John Walker. Maybe throw Zemo in there for
this
a
was
little
episode
bit.
4, so episode 5
Episode
is next
5,
one.
that's what I meant. So how do you end episode 5? Because even though John Walker just killed a dude, I don't know if he's necessarily a villain yet. Because technically, in the eyes of the public, he killed a bad guy. So what I think is going to happen is him pissed at Carly for killing Lamar, killing Battlestar. He's going to try to kill her. They are going to protect her. Carly's going to get away. Sam is going to fight with him. And then he's going to, because he's a super soldier, he's going to defeat him and Bucky. He's going to look Sam in the eyes and say, she killed my best friend. What if I killed yours? And then the ending of episode 5, the big cliffhanger, U.S. agent kills Bucky. I think it's possible. I don't necessarily know if it's what I want.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Like I said, if they were gonna kill anyone off and expect you to cry, it would be Bucky.
It could also be Isaiah.
That is a possibility.
Isaiah needs to make a reappearance, though. He's only made
one,
albeit a very strong appearance. But
it was a strong one appearance in one episode, and like we said before, Zemo very clearly picked up on, who's this Isaiah Bradley other super soldier person you're talking about? And he has just disappeared, so he might be running off to deal with him, perhaps. But again, I don't. We've seen him once, and it wasn't really strong once, but I don't know if that's enough for the director to set. Unless he's a bit pompous and thinking, I've done such a great job directing this scene, you're going to bawl your eyes out. I feel like
he could come back. He could come back, have a couple stories with Sam, talk about like how truly mistreated he was, and then maybe they need, because I feel like the climax has to be Madripoor attacking, right? Because Sharon set that up. She was like, Madripoor is getting ready for war. So it's got to be Madripoor versus the American government and maybe even partially Wakanda? Or at least the Flag Smashers.
Yeah, at least the Flag Smashers. I think her line about that could even just be, Madripoor is just falling a bit more into chaos now, and they're all fighting amongst themselves, because it's this city where a bunch of pirates and stuff come to hang out, and criminals. But I don't think they'd go to war with America, because America didn't have anything to do with Carly stealing some serums.
That was me being a little silly, but
yeah, I mean,
I do think that there's got to be a bigger threat. There's got to be like something that these two Avengers can't handle. So I think maybe it could be Madripoor attacking, but maybe if they're attacking, they're like, we need help. And this is where it's revealed that Isaiah 2 was a Captain America. And maybe he comes in and helps. And then he dies, setting up Eli to become Patriot in Young Avengers. But again, I don't know.
Motivating Sam further.
Maybe you save that. I don't know. I want to cry, though. Whatever it is, I want to bawl my eyes out.
Yeah. Cal?
Do you have any theories, Cal?
What would make you cry next episode? What would you think?
Okay, gentlemen, let me make this one thing clear. I made a video about my top 15 cry moments. It probably need a bit of updating, but there's no denying that one of the top moments was the ending of Infinity War. That is just one of those moments where I just bawled my eyes out like a baby. I was devastated. I was crushed. I left that theater sobbing. I got back to my hotel room, sobbed for a good half hour. Like, like red on the face, go like that sort of thing.
When you're editing, be sure to stick your link to that video in the top corner.
Sure, I'll gladly. I mean, it was for my Stardust account before the UK videos got deleted for some weird hiccup that Stardust had to fix. But I got it in my archives. I'm sure I could bring it up. Yeah.
I went to this place in Glasgow to see this film, and now I am emotionally devastated. It takes a lot for someone like me to cry in a movie, and the ending of this movie made me cry. It was from where Scarlet Witch tried to kill Vision all the way to the very end with Thanos sitting down. People just dying at random. Rocket screaming Groot's death. You can sense the fear in Spider-Man when he goes away. This is one of the few reactions you see me sad. Congratulations, Marvel, you made a 20-year-old cry.
So, anyway, what would make me cry? Yeah, I think, what made me cry about them was that I didn't see it coming as such. It was structured in a way like, the Avengers are gonna beat them! Which made the ending all the more devastating, and you care for these characters, and it was so unjustified, and the villain won. Yeah, that was also what made it really devastating.
Paul Bettany got his head torn up.
Yeah, that was inevitable. So, I mean, of course, a lot of people subbed at Endgame, but I'm one of those people who doesn't cry that easily. I've kind of been there and done that with a lot of things, but that got me good. Right in the heartstrings. So, what would make me cry? It would have to be characters I cared about. It would have to be something quite personal. It would have to be maybe something quite devastating. Or maybe it's an uplifting moment. And or maybe it's something that's really personal and emotional, like Bucky's recovery or something like that. Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I agree with you. I did in my head have one more idea before we get to the cameo, if you guys would be so interested.
Yeah.
What if it's okay? So we know the cameo is probably a lady, but what if? Hear me out. What if there's secretly two cameos?
Okay.
And the cameo in episode 5 is Steve. And the crying moment is Steve directly talks to Bucky and Sam and talks about how that shield was never supposed to have blood on it. Like, gives them some tough love. Like, look at what the world became. Look at what happened. Sam, you have to take up the mantle. You have to be Captain America, because look at what happens if good people don't do it. And I think that's possible too. I'm trying to think of like what would make me cry besides a character death, and Captain America coming in and giving some tough love. I think that could do it.
That's an idea. As Callum was talking about crying in Endgame, Infinity War, I was thinking, oh, I remember crying in the cinema for Endgame, and it was just tears of joy at the portal scene as everyone comes through. So it could be something so great that you're going to cry tears of joy. It could be that idea of bringing in someone we already know, like Steve, in that capacity. I like that idea over them killing Bucky.
I agree. I hope it's something good. I don't know though.
Let's also all just take a deep breath and remember the epic, amazing cameo at the end of WandaVision, and bring us all back down to the ground for a moment there.
The female cameo will be Storm from the X-Men, but in a surprise twist, she is casted as Paul Bettany. Just saying. At this point, I want him to show up in every Marvel movie like Stan Lee does.
I feel it's the sort of joke they could do for like a post-credit scene sort of thing. Have another Paul Bettany sort of joke like that could be funny.
I would love it now. Say what you want in the long term. Like in the short term, his cameo joke pissed me off. In the long term, kind of hilarious.
Yeah.
So, last but not least, the cameo. Who's it gonna be?
This...
I assume you guys will be picking people we know from the MCU already. I have picked someone new.
Okay.
So, go ahead. If you have yours ready, if not...
Yeah. My guess is... This is going to tie in something I was going to talk about that was mentioned in passing here, and we could talk about after this, being the power broker. I feel like that's sort of who this cameo could be building to, if it's going to be a new actor or something we've never seen before. Power broker is a strong possibility, and it's going to be this female actress in this role that we don't know yet. It's going to be a big surprise when it happens. But my thoughts for power broker is I'm suspicious of Sharon at the moment. I think there could be a reveal of her being power broker. So I'm going to take that off the table, and we can talk about power broker later. So if assuming the cameo isn't whoever's playing power broker, I think either I have two guesses. It's either going to be I don't know the character's name, but the girl in Black Widow, the blonde girl who went through all the same training as Natasha and everything. Could be her.
I believe her name is Elena Belova.
Yes, that's it. Elena is on my radar as a possibility. I don't know exactly how she'd tie in, but Black Widow training and everything, sort of spies, espionage, secret agent E, combat stuff. She could fit into the show quite solidly. Perhaps taking a bit of Agent 13's role in the story. Dynamic. But that's my one guess. My other one, which I am going to pull from the comics a bit, just because big female character, someone that we know is going to show up down the line. I'm thinking, I don't know how they tie it into the story at all, but sort of fantasy football dream casting. My guess, my pitch, Kamala Khan's Miss Marvel would be a big female character to introduce here.
That would directly set up Miss Marvel.
Yeah. It's like, okay, here we go. This character is getting a show. This one that you saw in this one episode and really liked. Yeah, tune in for the full series.
I think that's accurate. Like, I was even going to bring up maybe Kate Bishop, even though it doesn't make a ton of sense.
Remind us who's Kate Bishop?
Kate Bishop is the second Hawkeye.
Okay.
She's going to be in
the
the
show.
show.
Hawkeye's daughter? Is that okay?
Essentially, she's like a little sister to him. She's his sidekick.
Okay, cool.
I honestly am struggling to think of who it could be from the MCU. Callum, do you have a guess? Because I do have one MCU guess, and I do have one new character guess.
This is going to be very, very unlikely, but this is just an idea, and she is the closest relation I can think of to Bucky and Falcon, even though she's already dead. I'm thinking of Agent Carter. I'm imagining Steve Rogers' marriage with Agent Carter, and I'm imagining what impact she would have, I don't know, on Falcon and Bucky. I know, stupid.
We could get we could get a flashback with Isaiah Bradley and her.
As we put my hand up there, what if that scene to make you cry ties in with this actress cameo? What if it is a Steve and Agent Carter flashback? What if it's some of their life?
Oh God. That would make me cry.
Like that'd be more likely to make me cry out of anything we've thought of so far.
Stop
singing
the
Callum.
tune from Up.
I will take these headphones off.
You're hurting me.
Oh.
All right. So here's the thing. I think there is one character that I think, if it's an MCU character, this person makes the most sense. Are they ground level? I don't know. Are they necessarily expected to show up? I don't think so either. But we've had the Adora Milaje. We need a scene that makes us cry. What if it's Shuri, and she talks about what has happened in Wakanda?
Yeah. Oh, wait. Grounded. Wait. No, that wouldn't work. Shuri wouldn't work.
Why wouldn't Shuri work?
You're telling us the character needs to be grounded? When you say grounded, I'm assuming they are not on a very high position.
Ground level, I think, was the...
Street level is what has been said.
Oh, actually said street level?
Well, yeah, you know... Like,
I was going to change my guesses. That does change my guesses.
Street
level.
Okay, look. What they're saying probably, what that honestly probably means, is maybe someone without powers. Technically, Spider-Man is ground level.
Yeah.
Currently.
He's got the spider senses.
He's a street level hero, friendly neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
If it is a street level female character, big cameo, Jessica Jones.
That would be something.
I have no clue how it should. I have no clue how it should fit into this story, but
I'm just
Kirsten
saying,
Ritter. That's my new guess.
Shuri makes a lot of sense because the Adora Milaje is here. It's supposed to be a female, and it makes sense that if Shuri came in and talked about this is what's happening with T'Challa, this is how we're going to address Chadwick Boseman's passing in the next Black Panther, that could be a tearjerker.
Yeah.
I do wonder if it's Shuri. I think she is a safe bet. However, I am not about safety. So, ladies and gentlemen,
I think Shuri is probably the most realistic to happen of any of our guesses so far. So go with your crazy wacky nonsense now.
Well, to lead into who the power broker is, I mentioned earlier when you asked about Hydra that I did think of one way that what's going on could have something to do with Hydra. What if the power broker is Cynthia Smith?
Cynthia Smith.
Uh-huh. And it's okay if you don't know who that is. In the comics, they would have to change this a little. But in the comics, it is Red Skull's daughter.
Okay.
Cynthia Smith is herself, she does have abilities. She's very good at combat. She is a very good spy as well. Black Widow style. Maybe think Black Widow as a villain. And I think that she would have the influence and the power, just with her dad's name, to take control of Madripoor. All you gotta say is, I'm Red Skull's daughter. One of the most hated villains in history that even Baron Zemo doesn't want the world to be like? I'm his daughter. It also makes sense that she would have ties to the super soldier serum because Red Skull had ties to the super soldier serum. And
can it be hereditarily passed down?
I don't know, maybe. But also, I want you guys to notice that Cynthia wears red. Who else wears red? Mephisto. That's a joke. It's not Mephisto.
It's always Mephisto.
Everything is Mephisto. Anyway.
I think it's very possible that it is Cynthia. I can't think of... In the comic books, Power Broker does have a name. He's just a guy. But the way they're building it up, doesn't it seem like this is going to be someone? Wouldn't it be weird if it was just a guy? And of course, I'm having flashbacks to WandaVision where we're all about, an aerospace engineer, and it was just a soldier.
Yeah.
But I do think that it makes sense that if they wanted to throw Cynthia in here, they could. The only reason I'm a little hesitant is because that's a lot of villains.
Yeah.
So if it were me, I would actually throw her in episode 6 and have her be an after credits scene.
Yeah, I like the idea of Madripoor and perhaps even the Power Broker like that. Or even after the Power Broker's gone and there's now this power vacuum in Madripoor that she comes in. I like that. But I think I'd really like to see Madripoor later in the MCU. It's this established location, the seedy underbelly of... There's never a hive of scum and villainy. I'd like it to be a place we return to later in the MCU and other films and stuff, in Shang-Chi or something. So I feel you. I like that.
X-Men does stuff there all the time. So we may see it in an X-Men movie. But I am can we all agree that by the end of this series, we should know who the Power Broker is?
Yes.
And I think that if we need to know who the Power Broker is, a good answer that I think would satisfy people is Cynthia. Oh, and by the way, Cynthia is spelled S-I-N.
Yeah.
Because sin.
I just had a quick check on the Marvel wiki. It's like, nickname, Sin. So, okay. I think...
Do you guys have any ideas for the Power Broker?
I just want to continue on that wee Cynthia idea there. I agree. I think it's great, but your one piece there of, her name alone as daughter of the Red Skull will be enough to get her in. It reminds me of the famous crossover where the Joker met Red Skull, and they had that moment of, they're getting along all right, and then Joker finds out he's a Nazi, and immediately just decks him. It's like, I may be insane, but I'm an American. I don't think necessarily they take too kindly to, hey, I'm your new leader, daughter of this famous Nazi.
I mean, I don't know, dude. Hydra was around secretly for a while. Maybe Hydra's Madripoor. We don't know.
Ooh. I like that. We'll see.
But,
we'll see. Yeah.
What to see?
Power Broker.
Yep. I think people saying it's Sharon Carter. It could be, but I think what's more likely is Sharon Carter probably is a flag smasher, like in my head. Or she's either working for the Power Broker and is like a double agent, or she's a flag smasher and the person she called at the end was Carly. I don't know, though. I truly don't. We know she's doing something shady.
Which
So maybe
could
it's
just be
her, I
her
don't know.
own. It could just be her own thing. She's just, dealing in art and all that, as we saw before.
I saw one theory that she was calling Steve and has kind of become Steve's private agent. I don't know if that makes sense, though. Because if it's true, why is she in Magipur?
Undercover reconnaissance on Power Broker,
I don't know.
perhaps?
I don't know.
And if the
Maybe.
timeline thing is changed, then perhaps Steve is like, hey, it's me, your Grandpa Steve. Here's a mission for you to go on.
Didn't we kiss once? Don't talk about that.
No.
Sharon, just go snipe these dudes talking to Bucky. Steve, like with a gun? Yeah, just kill them. Just do it.
Steve's the Power Broker.
Oh god, I'd be so angry.
In his return, he became a villain for fun.
Well, I guess the last question before our ratings is, of course, who's the Power Broker? Do you guys got an answer?
Cal?
Well, here's the thing about the show. It was kind of more of a Jason Bourne kind of thing where they're chasing the bad guys, and they're not really focusing much on the mystery. Who's the Power Broker? They're not really doing that as such, so it's never really come to mind. Who's the Power Broker? What's the theory behind? No, it says, oh, chase the bad guys. We'll get this Power Broker one way or another. Yeah, sorry, so I can't really help you much there.
That's fair. But it's not really at the forefront. I think I deliberately went back to double check, at least in this episode, because it's the moment when they get the text from him and he's threatening, oh, this little girl playing at Revolution and whatnot, the text for Carly. They deliberately only refer to the Power Broker as the Power Broker. They don't use gendered pronouns or anything. There's no him or she or her. It's just the Power Broker is how they're referred to. So they're not giving us hints that it is a guy, in which case I'd be leaning towards, okay, it's just going to be the Power Broker character from the comics. They're not saying, oh, she, so I'm not leaning one way or the other based on what's been said, but they are deliberately keeping it vague. But my current guess is still, it's either going to be the cameo character, actor, it's just they've just cast some big name to play the Power Broker. Or, again, because there's only 2 episodes left, and I feel like it has to sort of be something that's been pre-established. My guess is Sharon Carter, because at the big, it's like, oh yeah, we're going to hide out with Sharon to avoid detection, and then they throw a party, again, the Zemo cut, and nothing comes of that, to them all celebrating and dancing, and no one there was a spy or informant? How did they not get caught there? Because they're doing it with her permission, asked the Power Broker. What was episode 3 called? The Power Broker. And we never met them. But that's the episode where Sharon shows up out of nowhere.
I gotta admit that it is a bit of a mystery there. It could be Sharon, and maybe the reveal is going to be the episode was about the Power Broker. Look at Sharon.
Yeah, because in our video on that episode, I think you and I both said, it's like, yeah, so this episode was called The Power Broker, and they didn't show up. A bit disappointing. So I think I'm pretty firmly in the camp that it's going to be Sharon.
They didn't even text in that episode. They texted in some of the other ones. I do think there's a mystery here, just because, like, every time we see them, like, if it wasn't a mystery at all, if there was no mystery, why are they doing texts? Why not just have the Power Broker call? And we hear it's just some guy. I do think this is going to be some sort of reveal. It's Mephisto, Callum. It just is. But yeah, I love that both of these Marvel shows are digging so deep into the characters and have these cool, like, mystery elements. Do you guys have any final thoughts? And yeah, let's do final thoughts and ratings. Cal, let's start with you. Let's hear that voice.
Yeah, my voice. Thank you very much. Thank God. This ending, this brutality, I've noticed that Falcon and Winter Soldier has been the most brutal that the MCU has gotten. Like, the closest thing you'd get to that kind of brutality is Deadpool, and Deadpool uses that for gags. Now, the thing about brutality is that if it's used too much, then you might as well just call it, like, gore porn. It's, like, just excessive. It's just there for the hardcore people to just go, oh, yeah, that's extreme, dude. Yeah, I mean, I can understand, the over-the-top fun of it, but it can be a bit much if you're trying to take yourself seriously. If I were directing something, if there's something I've learned from this and something else I'm going to mention, I would say really brutal moments for scenes that were taken more seriously. Like, look what they're doing. Look at how this isn't fun. This is brutal, and it is shocking, and it's revealing something. Like, the closest thing I can compare this scene where Tom just bludged the guy to death with his shield on the stone statue is
John.
John, what did I say?
Tom.
He called him Tom.
You see, this Tom guy, he approaches this other bloke and he bludgeons him to death with a shield. Now he's got a mess on his shield. Now everyone's knows to make.
My mind immediately went to Tom and Jerry, but yeah, let's go with that instead.
Yeah, now he's got raspberry jam all over his shield. Yeah, you know what I mean?
So, the closest thing
How dare you undercut that hardcore moment with this laughter? How dare you?
The closest thing I could compare this scene, this brutal scene, is something I experienced from Samurai Jack, Season 5, Episode 2. I'll give you the premise. Jack is a samurai warrior who's been fighting. Yeah. Spoilers. Should I give it a? I'll try to be vague. Actually,
you're good. You said spoilers.
Skip to this time on screen.
Okay, got it. Right. Now, this is probably one of the most, if not the most intense episode in the whole series, and it's only episode 2 of this particular season. Up until that point, Jack had been fighting robots upon robots, and any human opponent he did come across, he either swiftly knocked unconscious or something like that, but it wasn't really brutal as such. In this episode, he comes across these people who fight like no other person he's fought to an extent. He's outnumbered, he's outwitted, he's outmatched. The only thing he can do is run and hide. It's intense. He's making his way out. One of the assassins confronts him. He's fighting. Then he goes for a killing blow. And if you've seen any of the other shows, it's like, oh yeah, he's going to take him out. But then, whoa! Like, blood spurts out the throat. And then Jack's like, whoa! Like, it's revealed that they're actually a bunch of humans chasing after Jack. And Jack's never killed a human before. And that moment's all the more shocking because we don't often see that brutality, but there it is. And keep in mind, this is one of those shows that transitioned beautifully well for an older audience, mind you. And Gennady Tartakovsky is just one of those genius, creative, visual storytellers who knows when and when not to show blood, you see. So that's the closest thing I can think of comparing with comparisons, you see. And not to mention that they both end off on a bit of a sour note. I noticed Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier had this sort of theme song, but after this scene, you just hear this ominous tune for the end credits. Like, yikes.
I agree. The episode was brutal, and I gotta be real. I kind of like that they're not about this. Like, in the past, people would always be like, Marvel isn't dark, it's too funny. Right here, they're showing, no, we can be dark, but we have to do it when the story demands it. When it makes sense, we will blast half of our whole universe out of existence. We will show you Captain America's shield covered in blood. We will have those dark moments, but you have to understand that it makes sense in the story. And we're not just going to do it to play up darkness. We're going to make it make sense. And I like that. But, my dear friend, what is your rating for this episode?
Firstly, I'd like to mention Brooks' rating. Brooks
Squid Jedi's rating.
He gave it an 8 out of 10.
He didn't elaborate why, but, he probably liked it.
We'll quiz him on his thoughts on this episode quickly at the start of next week's video. Well.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it was similar to what we talked about, especially with the scene everyone's going to be gushing about for about a week or so. So as for me, I'd probably say this is the best episode so far. I gave the other episodes like 6.
You gave episode 1 a 6.5, episode 2 a 7.5, and episode 3 a 6.5.
I think I'm gonna give this an 8 as well, simply because the characters are much more engaging now. The stakes have been raised, especially the ending scene, and plenty of action scenes. I mean, I wouldn't have minded if they didn't have action scenes, but either way, the stakes have been raised. It's getting more personal, so yes, it's really starting to kick in now. Yes.
I agree with you. I too, I guess I'll just go into mine. I too think this was probably the best episode. And I think it's time I've said something that I've kind of been holding back. I realized this around episode 2, but I wasn't sure. So I stuck with it. It's episode 4 now. I've given it some time. And while I think that WandaVision was much better at teasing, was much better at getting you excited for the mystery, and was something I would talk about a lot more than I'm talking about Falcon and Winter Soldier, I think overall, I am enjoying this a lot more than WandaVision. I feel like WandaVision a lot of days was a kick in the teeth. It would be like, here's a little bit. Okay, now watch Vision eat the gum. It's silly. Watch him eat the gum. All right. See you next week where we spoon feed you a little more. And, of course, episode 9, which is episode 8, my bad. Episode 8, which is my favorite of the WandaVisions, was the one where they dug into the past of the character and showed her deeper traumas and stuff. That one was my favorite episode. And this whole series has been that. It has been, what would these characters do? Let's look at these characters deeper. Is Zemo a bad guy? Because lately he's been portrayed as like kind of not. Look at that dance. The man is trustworthy. So I honestly think this is the best one as well, and I am once again going to give it an 8.5. I believe I once dropped to a 7, but for the most part, Falcon and Winter Soldier has come hitting. I love Bucky. I love Zemo. I'm getting to that point with Sam too. But I feel like I could watch this show a million times. Whereas with WandaVision, I was like, just hurry up and tell me the things. But yeah, any final thoughts and rating for you, my dear Jack?
Just before I do, 2 quick things. I 100% agree with what you're saying about WandaVision there. And that's why I'm looking forward to Loki the most out of these 3, because I feel like it's going to be the perfect mix of that mystery, crazy, fun, plus
we're going to have to get
the
you
action,
on the cast
the
for that one too, Jack.
Hopefully you do. I'd be fully on board with that.
Awesome.
But also, the second thing, as long as I give it this episode more than a 4, this is our highest rated episode. And I will give it more than a 4. Above average, definitely. I I think... Here's the thing. This episode
it's okay to be critical, Jack. It's okay.
I know. Trust me, I'm about to be. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I think I preferred the previous episode. Well, if this episode was split in two, if it was like two halves, the second half I'd give this 8 or 9 maybe, because it's just focusing on the really strong ending. Whereas the really strong ending and everything building up to it and everything before, I think I had no big problems with the story this episode. The actors and everything, of course, everyone's been great on this show. We praised him a few times this episode, and I'm sure people are going to be Wyatt Russell's great performance this time round. But
I hope so, man.
Permission to potentially taint your view on that final scene in a negative light.
Permission granted. Ruin my favorites.
First time I've only seen this episode once, so no point saying first time. But sitting watching that final moment, him beating him, like, whoa, that I love. Wow, I love that, and I hate it. And there's one shot spliced into that moment that completely took me out of the scene. There's one shot in that final bashing him with a shield that ruins it for me. It's like you have him reaching up, holding the shield, screaming to bring it down on him. He's bringing it down on him. They cut to from behind John Walker's head, looking down at him. No blood whatsoever. He's hit him like 5 times. He's completely uninjured lying there. They cut to him hit him one more time, and then they cut to him covered in blood. That I knew flaw in the edit completely took me out of this moment.
Wait a minute. I knew that there was a scene where like it shows him again and there's like no blood, but it was right before the last hit.
Yeah. There was like 2-3 more hits, and that fully pulled me out of it. That ruins that moment for me. I need an edit of this episode. I need an edit of this episode without that one shot. Or have that one shot before he brings down the shield or something instead. You can't have him beating it, everyone pulling out their phones to film this. And the guy's lying there, uninjured, just eyes closed. You can't.
They never showed it. If they never showed the guy's face, it would have been fine.
Yeah,
like they don't need to show him battered and bloodied. Just don't show the face. Show the blood.
Yeah, because they don't show him battered and bloodied. They just show like his hand with some blood splattered on it and stuff, and then you see the shield and everything come up afterwards. You don't see the full result of the carnage. But the closest thing we do is him completely uninjured. That ruins the moment for me.
I agree.
Marvel.
That would take me out too.
Right, Marvel, you need to make an extended Zemo cut.
No, you need to make a
Zemo's
shorter
dancing
cut.
in the background while he's hitting him with the shield.
Oh, yeah. That ruins that one moment for me, so I can't appreciate that as much as I should. So that scene doesn't carry as much of the weight as it ought to, as they intended, just because of that one editing slip-up decision that fully pulls me out of it.
You sons of bitches, Marvel, you almost got Jack to give you a 9.
I know. So there's that. That's the big thing, because that was the big moment. But there was really, like, the directing in this episode wasn't great for a standout, but I want to know who did some of these. There's some great little moments when the shield is thrown and it lodges in the wall. John Walker looks around, okay, there's no one there. The camera pans around as he goes to take it. He takes it out the wall and a guy comes at him from what was previously blocked by the shield, so we, the audience, could see it. That was great. There were lots of great cinematography. The actual technicals of the show has been great. CG's been great. Everything's been great on a technical level, except from that one moment, and as I said, the color grading, which might just be my monitor, in that first scene. But so yeah, my score. I would.
Now here's
I
the
would.
thing.
I would give it. Okay, go.
I feel you, Jack. I feel you. I know that scene ruined it. However, there are people who would say that is a nitpick. Because you know the feeling of the scene. But I actually do agree with you that if that scene ruined, like if they ruin that scene, this big scene where it's like, look at this, look at how dark this is, and if that scene was ruined for you, motherfucker, I'd lower my rating too.
You could say, I agree. Let me just defend my stance on that being a nitpick, though. Imagine if in the portal scene in Endgame, a character comes out with a massive green rectangle behind them that they forgot to key out. That would ruin that scene. That would ruin the entire fight. That would ruin the climax of Avengers Endgame.
Honestly,
so
that would make me laugh.
Tell me that this one thing is a nitpick.
I mean, you're right.
Yeah.
It was missing that thing.
I would have given this episode an 8. If it was 2 halves, I'd have given this half a 9. I would have given it an 8, but I can't, in good conscience, give it that because I'm so taken out of it there. And there's some little bits of the banter between characters didn't quite land for me this episode. But I don't want to give it a 7. I don't like doing 0.5s. I like to stick to whole numbers, but I'm gonna have to go for a 7.5 here. This is a rare 0.5 from me.
Highest score! Hooray!
Honestly, for me, I like usually I don't give 0.5s either. But for me, this is a 0.5 show because every time like I'm like, oh, it's an 8. They do something where I'm like, oh, they just went a little beyond. It's not necessarily a 9, but they just went beyond.
Yeah, plus ultra. Yeah. But that gives this episode a 32 out of 40.
Damn,
that's very strong.
Oh yeah, 8 away from being perfect. That's pretty damn good, yes, man.
Considering there's 4 of us, that's doing pretty good.
Oh yeah, it got 2 8s and 2 people
7.5, 2 8s, and an 8.5.
Yeah. I think this series, like honestly, when we reviewed WandaVision, we were given it great ratings too. Which I don't want to be this guy who gets disappointed later, but I have to ask: are all the Marvel shows going to be like this? Because Loki looks like it's going to be like this. I don't know, man. I'm excited.
Yeah.
So
I hope.
Now
I'm curious for Loki because there's the thing you said before about this show being really good for the character stuff. I'm curious what they're going to do with Loki in terms of him having an arc in that show, or is he just going to be Loki for the whole thing?
I mean, the new trailer came out.
Yeah. And I liked that new trailer and stuff, and I feel like he's definitely going to have changed by the end of the show. But I'd be fully on board if Loki doesn't develop as a character, and it's just a lot of fun seeing this TVA trying to deal with his nonsense and get him to stay in line.
We've seen so much of like these what happened?
I'll save it for the end.
Oh, okay. Well, we've seen so much of what has happened with Loki so far that this is the one character where I'm like, I don't need to see their backstory. I don't need a deep dive into Loki. Just show me who he is now and show me him in these weird situations.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if you just get Tom Hiddleston. You could just have Loki just go out and just going, Loki, and that would just bang money. Yeah.
He just walks out, flips off the camera, walks away. That's the show.
Owen Wilson drags him back on screen.
That's all I have to say. Jack, you said you were saving something till the end.
Yeah. So It's just because in Loki, Owen Wilson is playing sort of the other lead character. I discovered this week, and it's a lot of fun to go back and watch. There's a trilogy of animated films. And at least in the first one, I've not been able, from what I've seen, I don't know if it's necessarily the same for the following two, but for the first installment of this animated trilogy, Daniel Bruhl, our Zemo, voices the main character in the German dub. Baron Zemo is Lightning McQueen in the first Cars movie.
What?
If you watch the German dub of Pixar's Cars, it's Daniel Bruhl doing the voice. Of course, in the English, it's Owen Wilson, so that's what came to mind. But it's just him. Was it Speed? Ich bin Speed. Oh, that was a trip.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Sing Zemo is Lightning McQueen.
He's putting on a voice because he's playing an animated character.
Fuck this female thing.
No, that was
the cameo is gonna be Toe Mater, Larry the Cable Guy.
Larry the Cable Guy in drag, yes.
Right next to Paul Bettany in a dress.
No, Paul Bettany in all white. We need to stick with that.
Yes, he's playing Storm, and Larry the Cable Guy will be playing a recasted Black Widow.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get any better than recasted Black Widow. So everybody, please go to the description and find these fine fellows. Jack has been doing amazing reactions. I just recently watched your reaction to Infinity Train and loved it.
Oh, yes. Can't wait for book 4 of that coming out later this year. That's going to be crazy. But currently on the channel, My Hero Academia Season 5 is on, so by the time this video is up, my reaction to Episode 3 will be out. Please go check me out over there. This season's going to be a lot of fun from what I'm hearing from the manga fans. And also, like I plugged last week, I want to plug my TikTok, because in this past week, we've almost passed 20k followers on that. So please go check me out on that. There's a lot of fun little animations and cosplay, SCP content, My Hero Academia, anime, various what's-its. Go check me out over there.
We gotta get good old Jack to 20. Or 2. Or
I might already be there. I'll check.
Cal, do you have anything to plug?
My YouTube channel, of course, Scott Meyer.
Sorry, I hate to interrupt. At the time of recording, we've just hit 20k.
Nice!
I'll be celebrating that after we finish recording.
But now we need to get you to 69,000.
Ooh.
Because that's the section.
Amen to that.
I think 9,000 is enough for the Dragon Ball joke, okay?
Nope. Nope. It's got to be higher.
Neil, why?
But go ahead and plug yourself. Because it's funny, Callum. It's a funny number. Plug yourself.
I'm Scott Meyer. I have a YouTube channel. And this past Easter week, I've been reviewing videos of The Chosen, this great show, and those videos that I do on my channel tend to be the most popular, so maybe I'll do more in the future. I really thank you all for the attention, and the Stardust app, I'm also quite active there, react to things. Now, you're probably wondering, why am I not doing frequent reactions to Falcon and Winter Soldier? Recently, I've liked to wait until the show ends to react to the last episode and give a conclusion of it overall. So, judge me there as you will, I suppose.
Yeah, I feel you. Like, even though we're doing these like weekly responses, I will probably still review the show as a whole as well. Just because I like to judge everything as one complete narrative.
Yes.
But yeah, go check out Callum. He puts out good stuff. he put out a Marvel fatigue video that we constantly reference in these.
We might as well just be selling T-shirts of me talking about the Marvel fatigue by now.
I mean, you brought it up. It's interesting to bring up as we go for each show. Be like, do you feel the fatigue? And watch us get to Hawkeye, and that's the one where you're going to be like, yep, MCU should have ended. Fuck this.
Can you imagine if we get to that point as you saying that, Neil? That'll be...
I mean, stranger things have happened. We just get there, and I'm like, Hawkeye's not my favorite superhero anymore. Just ruined it. Fuck it. But if you would like to hear me gush more about Hawkeye, lately we've been playing Avengers on my Twitch channel. And I try to play as Hawkeye at least once per episode. Because people get really into me telling stories about it.
Once? That's discipline.
Well, whenever I do the episodes, I'm trying to do the daily challenges. And since I love Hawkeye so much, I do his challenges before the streams. So literally at this point, it's like, hey, Neil, you want to play this character you've already played 20 times? And I'm like, okay. I love him. I'll do it. But just go to twitch.tv/Dr. Neiltopus. We're also doing a playthrough of Night in the Woods, a great game about a little crisis kitty that just got out of college and is having some trouble adapting to life back in her hometown. Please check it out. I love that story. It's one of my favorite games, and I love sharing it with you fine people.
Meow meow.
So now we got to end on a joke.
Everyone
Jack, say something funny.
When Captain America throws his mighty shield.
Zemo dance along to it.
well, Zemo dance, yeah. That's how we end.
Yeah. We do a remix of when Captain America throws his mighty shield, but just Zemo is dancing.
Yeah, I'll edit that. I'll edit that and send it to Callum to slap at the end of it.
And when the beat drops, well, when the beat drops, Jack, John Walker drops his shield on that guy.
Yeah. I'll do that.
Just snap to it.
Captain America throws his mighty shield. All right, end it. We're not doing better than that.
Yeah. No.
And
when